All right, are we finally on? Saying we're live, so I think we're finally on. How's it going, everybody? Those of y'all who are new watching this today, as we stream live here in beautiful Western Iowa, or if you're watching the playback, my name is Austin, and this is Fintastic Freaks. I gotta have like a sticker or something to like point at the logo or something like I do in my videos and such. No Fintastic Freaks shirt today. We got Elton John on today here, folks. Saw him in 2019, I think. Yeah, it would have been Valentine's Day 2019 is when I would have saw Elton John here in the great city of Omaha. Awesome concert. If he comes there for a farewell tour and you haven't already, definitely go check him out. See, we already got a great deal of awesome people here. Yellowstone Aquatics here again. Fish Room Fever, how's it going, James? Great to see you, man. Chris Robertson, we got S here as well. Believe I said Yellowstone Aquatics. Mystery Snail Guardians, how's it going? Fish Room Fever, I love that song from Elton John. Love Rocket Man. That and Crocodile Rock, probably. Love that one, too. I mean, if I listed off all the songs I liked from Elton John, we'd be here a while. We could probably do a stream talking about that by itself. That and Queen, probably. But yes, as a lot of you can see from the title, talking about puffers, among some other things here, because I love other fish than just puffers. See, we got S here with us today. Discus addiction. Hey, I keep thinking I need to get a discus tank. I love angelfish, and I know there's I think there's like a rivalry between angelfish and discus keepers, supposedly. I think they're both beautiful. I think at some point I would love to order or own a discus here. I thought about maybe trying to mix them in with these guys here in the 240 with the rainbows. The only one I'm really worried about is the angel back here. He doesn't always play nice. Fortunately, the rainbows and the gouramis in here with him can fight back. But yeah, I personally would love to try to maybe get a pair of discus in here and add even more color to this tank. I think it'd be beautiful. Discus addiction, keep them together. I presume you're talking about angelfish and discus. Yeah, I've thought about it, honestly. I mean, I have a spare 125 that's lying around that I keep thinking I want to do Oscars in, but discus has remained in the back of my mind with that tank as well. But of course, talking about the main fish that I know a number of you like to follow me for here, we're talking about puffers here, and not just freshwater puffers, because now down here in the fish room, I don't just have freshwater puffers. We actually got some brackish down here now too. So we'll talk a little bit about probably the main two brackish water puffers that I would imagine a lot of people would know, with being green spotted puffers and figure eight puffers, which we'll talk a little bit about them. But those of you that maybe have puffers or want to keep puffers, in the comments below, feel free to let me know, what puffer are you thinking about you want to keep, or maybe what puffers have you kept? If cost wasn't an issue or tank size, what puffer would you want to keep? I guess to put it on the list of all the ones that I haven't kept yet, which I currently have 10 species, but I've kept 11 total in my history. Obviously, my hairy puffer and my dragon puffer are no longer with us, but we already got all sorts of puffers. I mean, I've had a top 5 freshwater puffer suggestion video. To those of you that haven't seen that one, definitely recommend checking that one out. But of course, after the stream, hopefully. But I would still say that's probably my top 5 here right now. Number 1 definitely being the pea puffers, because before I had Finley, before I had the spotted Congos, before I had any of the figure eights, the green spotted, the Congo, the Arrowhead, before there was the dragon, the first puffer species I had was the pea puffers, and for good reason. They're a great introductory puffer for the whole puffer keeping idea. Adelsandria has joined us first time. I'm catching your stream live. Awesome. Matt, welcome aboard here. Found you a few weeks ago looking for puffer info, so really looking forward tonight. Thank you. Hopefully it doesn't disappoint. Going to talk about all sorts of species here. Hey, maybe if some of y'all know a species that maybe I don't talk about here, feel free to throw it at me. Let's see here. Chris Robertson, surprised that none of the local fish stores have paired up with a plumber and other water systems, or probably any stores. Huge untapped market. Absolutely. So, like I said earlier, within my top 5 puffers video, I guess number 5, we'll start with number 5. I'm trying to remember. I believe, that was the Fajaka Puffer, which I know some people might be like, you think Finley's only the 5th best? I mean, don't get me wrong. Of all the puffer species that I like to keep, I mean, it's pretty neck and neck, pretty close with a Fajaka versus a Pea Puffer for me. But obviously, in terms of demand for the two fish, there's quite some variations. But a Pea Puffer only grows to be about an inch and a half before it's done growing. A Fajaka gets over a foot. So obviously that by itself is a big difference. But the one thing I like about Pea Puffers, and probably the main reason why I would say they're the main puffer that I would recommend to anyone that wants to start out and just dip their toes in the waters of puffer keeping, is unlike a lot of other puffers, Pea Puffers you don't have to worry about so much about getting like crayfish legs or snails and such to grind down their teeth. You don't have that teeth problem with Pea Puffers. Whereas obviously a lot of other puffers like excuse me, like green spotted puffers, figure 8 puffers, spotted Congos, dragon puffers, Maboos, Fajakas, red eye puffers, Amazon puffers. I mean, the list goes on and on. You got to worry about their teeth and make sure that you give them like crustaceans, like shrimp, even like half shell clams is something I also like to give my Fajaka. Crayfish claws. You can go ahead and even give them like crab. Just make sure it's unseasoned, unsalted. I mean, just no seasoning whatsoever on it before you do it, which can sometimes be a little tricky. Around here, you could, but I'd rather just go straight to the fish stores, and then I know I don't have to worry about it. Another great thing that about Pea Puffers is, of course, they don't get big. They only get about an inch and a half, as I say. So, I mean, over there, I just got a little 20-gallon hex. You can kind of see it over here by the edge of the tank. I don't want to show too much of it right now because the algae is getting better in there, but it's still a little messy. But just did a water change in there 2 days ago. That's right. I don't know why I had to think about that as long as I did, but 2 days ago, and algae is starting to go down, but going to take a little more work yet. But honestly, you could just give them like things like brine shrimp. Bloodworms is a great thing, and while they don't need it, some young pest snails are also good for them. They'll still appreciate those. If you really want to, you could train them to eat pellets and all that. I don't do that because it's just way easier to give them brine shrimp, bloodworms, and such. And in retrospect, it really doesn't cost that much, at least not in my area, to just go ahead and give them, brine shrimp, or even mysis shrimp would be another one, or bloodworms. It just doesn't really cost a lot. I also sometimes give my Pea Puffers tubifex worms, and they sometimes love eating those as well. Let's see, Adele Sandri picked up 3 Pea Puffers about 2 weeks ago. Hey, nice. Looks like it's 2 girls and a boy. Hey, that's what you want. So, hey, fingers crossed right there with you. Got them on a live baby brine shrimp and bloodworms right now. That's pretty good right now. Honestly, baby brine shrimp would even be better because then they can tackle even more of those than just brine shrimp. Because the thing about them being such a small fish is it's doesn't take a whole lot to overfeed them. So you got to be careful of the portions you give them. But no, I'd say honestly, Adele, that's a decent diet. But I would say, at least with my fish, I like to give as many different things in terms of feeding as possible. But I mean, as long as you're not just doing one thing only, honestly, then I think you're taking good steps there. Oh, and tearing up resident bladder snails. Well, then, hey, there you go. That's another thing. I guess something I also like to do, and this has really helped me out with a lot of fish, especially the puffers, is do a little research about where they're from. Obviously, the Amazon puffer or South American puffer kind of speaks on itself. They're native to the Amazon River, so maybe look up what's it like there. Is it more of a rocky river? Is it a sandy river? Is it kind of dirt-like? What are some native plants there? What are some things that they like to feast on there as well? I mean, other than snails and such. If you go and check that stuff out, I mean, to me, the best way to get the top results out of your puffers is try to recreate their own natural habitat, which obviously in a glass box, I mean, so to say, you can only do that to such a term, but the more and more you try to, recreate it, the better. So you saw we got a couple other guys in here. My fish tanks. Good evening, fishy folks. Welcome. Welcome to see. Good to see you here, my fish tanks. Rico Stan, the man, the myth, the legend himself. My pea puffers will go after vibrobites pretty well. I have seen a lot of people give those to puffers too. I've tried to give those to some of my puffers. Some of them will take it. My red-eye puffers, who are in this 20-gallon long here, will take those. Amazon puffers sometimes. I can't give it to them more than one night in a row, though, because otherwise they get smart and be like, okay, dude, we were nice to you last time. Give us some actual meat here, man. But I haven't gotten my pea puffers personally to go on that. I'm also thinking I might have to I might do another tank for pea puffers here in the near future. So a little fun fact about all my pea puffers is I've had all those pea puffers in that tank for just shy of 5 years. The average lifespan for a pea puffer is 4 years. So the first one got sick and passed, unfortunately. I mean, this is from the time I bought them, and they were all pretty much fully grown when I got them. The first one just decided to stop eating, tried testing them for internal parasites, and my thought is he probably just went because of old age, honestly. I mean, 5 years is typically a pretty good lifespan for a pea puffer. Like I say, they usually live for about 4 years on average. So if you can get them to 5, then for the most part, you've done all right. Let's see here. DeFreeze Aquariums, welcome. I see you. Training to eat flakes with is like winning the lottery. You're not wrong. I've never gotten any of my puffers to eat flake of any sort. I mean, Rico Stan with the vibrobites is about the closest I've ever gotten to that. They are just into bloodworms, frozen bloodworms, and brine. Not much after that. I guess DeFreeze, depending on what puffers you have, I don't know, maybe because I was talking about pea puffers, if you're relating to that. Something I would also give, like if it's say an Amazon puffer or a spotted Congo puffer or a puffer that, give or take around that size, maybe try frozen krill. That's another thing I give a lot of my puffers. My Arrowhead Puffer, my Dragon Puffer loved that stuff. My Congo Puffer likes that. My spotted Congo there, she also likes it. Whole bunch of puffers down here love it. The only one that won't eat it the only two are the red eyes and the pea puffers, and it's probably just because it's too big for them, thus they're not interested in it. But that might be another thing to potentially look at. See, Chris, Amazon puffers, do you have to add the styrofoam and Coke cans to the tank? DeFreeze, I think the one problem with matching where they came from is that most are bred in captivity and have no clue about their natural habitat. That is true. Some puffers are bred in captivity. There's also a lot of them that have to be wild caught. But no, there definitely are exceptions to that rule. There are definitely some that are more captive bred and such. And then, yeah, that's a bit of a different ball game. I guess I usually don't ask the store if they've been captive bred versus wild caught. I kind of do the same, or at least I shouldn't say same, but a similar routine for when I bring them in. I always make sure, or try to make sure that, there's no internal parasites and such, and that they're a healthy fish for the most part, which can be tricky sometimes, but I just like to take the steps on that just to be extra sure that, they're doing all right. And I don't know. I've always tried to simulate like where they're natural to and where they know it or not. So far, at least, it's worked. But yeah, that's a good point too. Beamer Mercedes the Bully. What other puffer would be a good tank mate of an Amazon puffer? Want to do a puffer only tank? Good or bad idea? Honestly, Beamer, you may not like what I say, but honestly, With South Americans, I'm not saying it's impossible, but my personal recommendation would be, just keep it a species only and just put a comfortable amount of Amazon puffers in there. Maybe red eyes, but personally, I wouldn't recommend putting 2 puffer species in there because my saying of puffers is this: it only takes one time to fight. Which reminds me, I'll have to get to another point that kind of correlates with that in a minute. I personally would just stick with one species of puffer in a tank and just call it that. Like, even with a Maboo, I know some people do it and some people can get away with it, so don't get me wrong. There definitely are exceptions. After you maybe learn about the personality of your fish, the fish's temperament, then maybe I would take some baby steps towards it. Like I say, if I wanted to put like any fish with my, say, Amazons, as you say, or even my Fajaka Finley, I would go ahead and try maybe putting some feeder minnows or feeder guppies in there and see how they get along. And if Finley goes and takes those down, or if the spot Congos or the Amazon puffers, whatever it may be, take those guys down, then I probably wouldn't want to spend the money on a puffer, because usually, even with Pea Puffers, depending where you are, you can still spend anywhere between $5 to $10 per fish, which can add up quickly. I'm sure that's not what you wanted to hear there if you're doing a puffer only tank, but unfortunately, I would just say pick a species and run with it. Yellowstone Fox finally added a little video to my channel. Hope it worked. And awesome. Hey, Yellowstone, I'll have to go check that out there. Always love seeing other fish tubers and guys putting out content out there. Got Danikin Aquatics here. Welcome, Kenny G. Or Danny, whoever it might be. Benny's Aquatics in the house as well. Welcome. 23 people watching, 13 likes. Appreciate every single one of you. As you're watching or before you got to head out, make sure to hit the like button. Every single one's appreciated, but just appreciate y'all being here. Every single one of y'all are awesome. Beamer Mercedes, my Pea Puffer almost killed my Amazon. I know what you mean. Separated them now. So I guess a little bit of a news / to go with your point there, Beamer. I mean, my saying of puffers, and the reason why I'll never mix species with my puffers, is it only takes one time for a fish to tick off a puffer and the puffer just be like, all right, I've had enough of you, chomp. And I mean, if a puffer gets a hold of another fish, it doesn't take too much for them to basically kill the other fish. I guess a personal example I would have now is that, unfortunately, my female spotted Congo, as I said in the last stream here, apparently she and the male spotted Congo had a big fight, because the male spotted Congo's tail was pretty much 90% gone. I mean, he was not looking good. And the little guy fought for about I think it was about a week and a half or so, and his tail was starting to grow back. He was eating at first, but then for about the last week, wasn't eating. And unfortunately, I lost my male Congo puffer because of that. Male spotted Congo puffer because of that, which it just goes with the saying there. Even if it's puffers of their own species, it only takes one time for one of them to get ticked off, and that's it. I mean, I didn't see this until I got back home from work and such, which is unfortunately usually how it goes. My day job keeps me out of the house a lot, a little more than I like sometimes. But fortunately, I like doing that just as much as I do the fish keeping. But that's another example of why be very careful what you put with other puffers, because even puffers of their own species, if they've had enough of each other, they will attack each other. Different species of fish, different species of puffer, same species of puffer, it don't matter. They get ticked off. It only takes one time for them to fight. And that's it. T-Bone Fishies is here. Welcome, T-Bone. Good to see you. Bucky Douglas, good to see you. Eduardo has joined us here as well. Welcome. See here, Sawdell put another message. There we go. Mine are still in quarantine, but I'd like to set up a biotope in their real home. It'd probably be a species only because I can't deal with the Thunderdome. Yeah, I mean, I can deal with a little bit of a Thunderdome in an aquarium, hence why I have a tank full of just tiger barbs. But I mean, I feel like that's kind of like a beginner level Thunderdome personally. Maybe that's just my personal opinion. Some people might be raising their brow at me like, beginner, huh? But in terms of just puffers and all that, I guess my any other tank, despite my spotted Congos, it's gone well. I mean, I got 3 Amazons and a 38, and they're doing well. The 3 figure 8 puffers in the 54 corner tank, they're doing just fine. I got 5 green spotted puffers all in the same tank, and they've so far gotten along well. They're still pretty small, so I guess we'll see if that trend continues as they continue to mature. We'll see if that trend continues. But that's one thing you got to be careful about puffers. They are a territorial fish. And I mean, when I say territorial, I know some people might say that there's a difference between territorial and aggressive. I mean, really, they're both. When it comes to their territory, yeah, they're very aggressive and they will defend it. And if they feel like a fish is invading that territory too much, that's all it takes. Lumpy Dog is here. Welcome, Lumpy Dog. Glad to see you here. I love the diversity in the fish keeping hobby. Everyone has different likes and dislikes. Having said that, I just don't understand all the puffer love. Just not my thing. Glad others enjoy them. I mean, that's totally fair, Lumpy Dog. I mean, some people love African cichlids, and I don't want to say I hate African cichlids. I gave them a try. I had Lake Malawi cichlids in a 55 for about 7 months, maybe closer to 8, and got them as a gift from my, at the time, fiance, now my wife, as a birthday present, and it just didn't work. I mean, everybody has their likings. I know, like, another awesome fish tuber out there, Chattanooga Ed, he loves his guppies out there. I know James, Fishroom Fever, who I believe was here earlier. Also, one of his favorite fish is plecos. I would say piranha, but I'm not sure if James still has a little mixed feelings about piranhas and such. Perhaps some of y'all know what I'm talking about there. I won't go too deep on that. That's his story. But, yeah, everybody has their niches and such. I guess one thing other than that, some people have asked me what got me really into puffer keeping, or, what made me like them so much. And I feel like a lot of puffer keepers say this, but honestly, seeing Corey with Murphy and even back in the day, Hank, and now Ladybird as well, just seeing them with big old Maboo puffers and just seeing how, as he calls them, a little water puppy personality that they have, it's really cool to see. And I mean, I know there's a lot of fish out there that do that. Oscars do that. Goldfish, which I have in a 125, are a lot like that. I mean, they're some of my knife fish even now. I have a tiger knife in a breeder tank here that does similar things here. My angelfish even at times, and one of my 75s here does a very similar thing. And puffers are another one of those that, yeah, it's just really cool. And I think another thing that really got me with them is that, everyone knows that a puffer is just a fish that inflates itself when it feels threatened. And it's a fish that some people might be like, oh, yeah, I've heard about a puffer fish, but maybe some people haven't heard that there's also freshwater species. So at first, honestly, the first ever species I heard outside of a Maboo puffer was a Fajaka, but the first ever species I bought, as I said earlier, was a Pea Puffer. It's, I see Adele here as well. It's got like those little chameleon-looking eye things, which, they kind of got like those bug-eye chameleon eyes, which is just another thing. And just the fact that they get so excited when it's feeding time. I mean, yeah, it almost reminds me of like a dog. They just get so much personality. At least that's why I like them. I mean, I could list a whole bunch of other reasons, but I could just do a stream all by itself about why I like puffers versus just puffers all in general. Stephen P. 2003 Aquatics is here. Welcome. See, we got Peplin Creek Aquatics here as well. Welcome, welcome. Anoxky Tanks is here as well. Welcome to you as well. So many awesome folks here. 19 likes, 24 people. Every single one of y'all are awesome here. Love having so many people here. Got Mrs. Freak here. Welcome. Those of you that don't know, that's the wife. So if you like what I do in the fish room, give a partial thanks to her at least. She's a big reason why I'm allowed to do a lot of this down here. Honestly, though, love you. T-Bone says, is this your first stream? Because this is my first. Nope. T-Bone, we've done this for a few weeks now. It's still pretty relatively new, so you haven't missed too many. I think this is the third, fourth week, I believe, where we've done this. I believe that, this is the fourth week now we've done a live stream. Trying to make this a normal thing here. Just gives me a chance to interact with you guys, and especially since, sometimes given my day job, which, for those of you that don't know, I'm a sports writer for a newspaper, which the workload kind of increases, decreases. It fluctuates a lot. It's kind of like a roller coaster or stock market, perhaps, as some others might prefer. It's really up and down. And right now, since all the fall sports are ending and we got a couple of teams that make like state tournament and such, we have 13 schools in our coverage area. So this is usually pretty normal. You would think with a lot of other teams having already lost and not in the state tournament, that the workload might be lesser. Not the case. Because usually about that time where teams are getting to the state tournament and such, we also got to start planning previews for the next term or the next, so once all the fall sports like football, volleyball, or cross country finish up, then it's time to start planning previews to write basketball, wrestling, and such. It's a non-ending cycle. The only time where things really calm down is in the summer, because here in Iowa, the only high school sports that happen here in the summer are baseball and softball, which isn't too bad. But all the rest of the year usually keeps you on your toes. There's no easy period. With that said, getting back to the puffer topic here, I know some of you have seen a couple of my new puffers here. I swear, I know I said last week that I'm going to get another puffer video out. Partially what I just talked about with all the teams going to state tournaments is why I haven't gotten a new one published here yet. I think it's already been 2 weeks now since I last published a video. I promise a new one's coming. I will get another one out there. Hey, Jerome, good to see you there. I am working on another video, and it'll be about puffers actually on top of that. We have 3 new puffers that I've never mentioned in a video before. Obviously, you saw the Arrowhead Puffer. I think that was 2 streams ago, I believe. Not the last week's, but the week before, 2 weeks ago. If you want to see that, it's kind of towards the end of the stream. But, of course, hopefully you stick around for the end of this one here yet. I promise I'm going to get a video here made talking about those 3 here, because if you've also checked the community tab, which I'm trying to still kind of get a feel for, you also notice I got another Congo puffer after my red Congo a couple weeks ago passed. Those ambush puffers sometimes can be very hard to eat. They're picky eaters, way more pickier than I learned in like what the active ones like Pea Puffers, Amazons, figure 8s, green spotteds, and so called are. But part of that perhaps is, since they just kind of chill on the substrate and bury themselves and just chill waiting for stuff to come along, it's, they don't have as quick as a metabolism. So I'll admit with the ambush puffers, still kind of learning. And I've kind of decided that probably with the ambush puffers, I'm going to chill for a little bit. That's not to say that I'm not going to buy any more puffers anymore. That's not what I'm saying at all. But probably with the ambush predator type puffers, I'm kind of getting a hint that's like, hey, need to pump the brakes and probably learn a few more things about these. Let's see here. A whole bunch of people chatting here. My Fajaka took a chunk out of my elbow and then smiled at me when he chewed it up. Ah, man. My Fajaka's only tried to bite me one time. And fortunately, she did not get me. But I still to this day don't know what I did to her. But was just cleaning up her tank. And I think my siphon maybe bumped her a little bit, and she freaked out a little bit, but nothing like what it hasn't happened before when she's just, trying to swim out of the way, but must have got like a sore spot or something, because my guess is it poked her a little bit, and she didn't like that. She came right up towards my hand, and I couldn't get my fingers out of that water fast enough. I mean, I guess I did, but a little close for comfort. See here, I know we got some other folks here. Ray Aquatics has joined the chat. Welcome, Ray. Good to have you. Beamer Mercedes the Bully, would y'all keep a saltwater puffer? So to be honest with you, I have not had a saltwater puffer yet. I had that 185 sitting in my fish room here now for the longest time. And I really want to get a porcupine puffer, although the idea of a dogface puffer is really growing on me too. But I really want to get a porcupine puffer someday. I think those guys are so cute. The only problem is they get really big. Like, much like a Fajaka, they get over a foot. I want to say, oh boy, they get like, I want to say they get about 18 inches or bigger yet too. I think sometimes they can even get closer to 2 feet, honestly. But I haven't had a saltwater puffer yet. I got brackish puffers, which I guess, there's salinity involved. So I guess give and take with it. But no true all-out saltwater puffers down here just yet. Someday, though. Someday. I guess, anybody got any question about a certain species of puffer? If you got one of those, feel free to put it down. See, I know we talked about the Fajaka, so Amazon puffers are another one that I know very popular. I know my care guide video on them is about over 1,000. I want to say almost 2,000 people have watched it, which is for me like, wow, that's awesome. But Amazon puffers are another one that I really, really like. These are a puffer though that like if you have a 55-gallon tank and you want something that maybe not a whole lot of people will recognize right away, this would be an awesome fish but however, I would recommend doing something like a red-eye puffer or a pea puffer before you do the Amazon puffers, because the only downside, and it's kind of a big downside with the Amazon puffers, is they probably have the fastest growing teeth of all the freshwater puffers out there, at least the ones to my knowledge. I mean, those chompers grow fast. I mean, I give them snails about at least a few times every week, like at least 3 to 4 times every week, and I'm still looking at their teeth occasionally like, yeah, I'm probably going to still have to trim them at some point. Their teeth just grow so fast. It's crazy. So that's really the only downside. They only grow I think their max size, they get about 4 to 6 inches about where they max out. Kind of depends on, of course, the tank that you give them, because you definitely don't want to stunt their growth either, because that's just not healthy for the fish either. I have been thinking of getting a 55 and building like a double deck stand underneath the Exodon tank, and getting a separate 55 to put the Amazons in so they can have a little extra swim space. Because, they're all right in that 38 here for a while. I got my Amazons were really tiny, a little bit bigger than a pea puffer. I mean, these guys were just little bitty guys. They're over 2 inches now. So, I mean, they're about, I usually try to get all my puffers when they're small, because I like to know how they've been raised, what their diet has been. Obviously, if they're, when they're in the fry stage, there's that part, obviously, that you don't get to do. But all the rest of it, at least here, I know what's going in their system, how they've been treated, what they've been fed. Makes it a little easier. So, like, if something does go wrong, gives me an idea of like, okay, maybe here's how we go about treating it. I see another good puffer. If you can find them, they can be. Oh, hold on before I get to the next puff. Ray Aquatics. How about figure 8 puffer community and breeding? I can't think of the YouTuber's name, but I have seen people do community tanks with figure 8 puffers. I think I've seen people like when they do like a brackish tank with them, because at some point with a figure 8 puffer, you will need to put them in brackish water. They're not a freshwater puffer. For those of you wondering, I keep my figure 8s are currently in 1.008 specific gravity right now. I'm thinking I might eventually bump them up to 0.010 or 0.012. 0.012 is probably the highest I'm going to go with them, just because they prefer kind of the lower levels of salinity when it comes to the brackish parameters. I've seen, I guess to answer your question there earlier, Ray, I've seen people put like some brackish water gobies in there with them. I would definitely, with any puffer, if I put anything or even attempt to make a community puffer tank, I would want fish that, are fast swimming, that are faster swimming than the puffer even. So if the puffer, is having a little bit of an attitude or, gets ticked off for whatever known reason, the other fish can be fast enough to get away from them. That and create some hiding spots, whether it be plants, get yourself some caves in there, maybe some rocks and such, some driftwood pieces and such. Just give the fish some places, and even the puffer, where they can just get away from each other. And every successful YouTuber, well, I shouldn't say successful YouTuber, but every successful fish keeper that tried a puffer community tank, I've noticed they've had a good number of those in the tank. So I would say that's probably the key to having success there, is just whenever one fish gets an attitude, provide plenty of hiding places for the fish to just have their me time and get away from each other. Gobies would probably be the only suggestion that I'd be able to somewhat knowledgeably give you, though, right? Because I'm still pretty new to brackish water, and I guess I don't want to tell you one fish and then be like totally wrong and steer you in the negative direction. But I have seen people do like gobies, or even I guess one other one I have seen is that mollies can do very weak brackish water conditions. And I have seen people do that with a figure 8 puffer before too. So that could be another option. But like I say, that would be what I would do if you do a community tank, provide plenty of hiding spots. I've learned that's a key aspect for it. Let's see. Good to see James and Fish Room Fever still here with us. Let's see when he learning curve. Okay, talking with Yellowstone. All right, yep. Good to see you with Yellowstone here. Like I say, Yellowstone, I'll have to check out your video here. It's awesome I'm always excited when I hear another fish tuber is coming aboard here. It's always exciting to see what everybody's into. So looking forward to seeing that and seeing what your niche is. Let's see here. Just reading through the comments here. Let's see. Some folks say, Adele says, some folks say Amazon puffers are a decent community tank members. Is that your experience? To be honest with you, Adele, I haven't tried putting any other fish with my Amazons currently. The only thing I've ever put in there with them is snails and shrimp, like pest snails and ghost shrimp to be precise. Obviously, that's going to be taken as food with them. I do have some mosquito fish fry down here that I've actually considered about maybe trying to put in there with them, because I've been thinking, as I said earlier, I've been debating if I want to put my Amazon puffers, maybe upgrade them from that 38 to a 55. I'm thinking I would love to put, if I can, and I'm sorry, English is hard right now. If my Amazon puffers do, cooperate and get along well with the mosquito fish, then maybe I'll put something else in there. I would still say with puffers, you want to be careful about any fish that's, too alluring or colorful, because if it's too colorful, then that might just, obviously puffers are a curious fish, and the way they like to explore things is by nipping with those very powerful teeth of theirs, those beak-like teeth of theirs. My guess would be I would still like to maybe give a try to like maybe a penguin tetra, just a silver and a black there, nothing too colorful like a cardinal or a neon. If they got along with the mosquito fish, maybe that would be something. But to be honest with you, Adele, personally, I myself have never tried to keep anything with them other than stuff that I've just put in there knowingly that the Amazon puffers will treat as food. But I'll have to try the mosquito fish, and if it works out, I'll have to let you know. See if maybe we can give mosquito or fish a try in there. If they leave them alone, then yeah, maybe I'll try a penguin tetra or something in there that's black, silver, not super alluring, but still keeps activity going in the tank. And if I do that, then maybe instead of upgrading them to a 55, might upgrade them to a 75. Let's see here. Talking a lot here. Got a little thirsty. Straight Coke today here. Promise that's not mixed. I've had a hair dangling in my eye. There we go. Hopefully that got rid of it. Looks like it did. Let's see. Fish room fever. Best puffer for an experienced fish keeper, but new to puffers. Honestly, I would say I would trace back to the number one still being the Pea Puffer. It's a little fish, but they still have that territorial instinct and that aggressive behavior. And again, still don't have to worry about the teeth. So since they're also still a scaleless fish, still demand pretty good water quality. It doesn't have to be like crisp and clear to the exact point. They can tolerate a little bit, but compared to like tetras and other stuff, they won't be as tolerant. But I would still say the Pea Puffer would be a great one. Otherwise, if you want one that's typically not very aggressive, I will say it is expensive. But I love these. I love these puffers, and I know they just fought and it ended up killing one of them. But honestly, it's one of the first times I've ever heard this. I'm thinking about maybe giving it a try, only in a different tank because gotta adjust the territory and such. Spotted Congos are a good one. They're usually pretty friendly and such. I think Corey from Aquarium Co-op even had them in a. I would say that Spotted Congos are, yeah, as Stephen P. Cordic says, the Shot-and-Denny Puffer would be another name for it. Would be another great option. They sometimes can go with other fish. Again, I would stay with the fast-swimming fish, just so if the puffers have an attitude, you can get away from them. Otherwise, another one that's kind of hard to find, not as expensive, nowhere near as expensive as a Spotted Congo Puffer, would be a red-eye puffer, or I think another name for them would be like a Malabar puffer. That's another one. It's another puffer that doesn't get very big. I got 4 of them in a 20-gallon long tank, and they've gotten along just fine in there. They only get about 3.5 inches is about where they stop. I might have to double check that. I believe that's about where. I know for sure they don't get much bigger than. I know for sure nothing over 4. I'm pretty sure 3 might even be a little bit high or big, but I would say mine right now are a little bit bigger than 2 inches right now. But that's what I would do anyway. Those would be my top 3 suggestions. Or of course, if you just want to say the heck with it and get like a big old pond down there with like a 12-foot in diameter pool or something. Hey, you want to go with the Maboo Puffer? Go for it. But a Maboo Puffer would probably not be a good one to start with on puffers because the puffer itself can be a little pricey depending on where you live. And as the bigger they get, the bigger the food bill gets. So part of the reason also why I haven't got one. That, and of course, as we all know, they get about 2.5, 3 feet before they're done growing. Absolutely, James. You're welcome. Stephen P. Aquarics, Shot-and-Denny for the win. Absolutely. I love those things. Gonna have to. I'm thinking that later on, if I try to get if I get more Spotted Congo puffers again to put with the feisty female there that had the fight with her, looked like it was her mate. Probably going to go ahead and add more than just one and probably put them in a whole new tank. Like, probably going to go ahead and move them to a 75 if I do it again. I think I'm probably going to, again, kind of like going back with the Amazon puffer tactics, maybe go ahead and try to put some like feeder guppies or mosquito fish in there and see how she acts with them. I don't want to act like that male shot Denny's death was all the females' fault, because the male puffer sometimes, would be a little persistent with his courtship. And I mean, well, hey, it's no different with females here in, the human race. When you've had enough, you've had enough. But we won't go too deep on that. That could be a potential can of worms, so we'll avoid that topic. 3G has joined the chat. Welcome, 3G. See, we got Freaky Fish Lady here as well. Welcome, Freaky Fish Lady. Good to see you here. Whole bunch of awesome folks here. 20 people watching, 28 likes. Y'all are awesome. Thank you so much. I need to get another video out there for you guys. I really want to talk about my one new puffer that I haven't shown on the channel in any shape, way, or form. But before that, I would still say, I don't know, this is the one puffer I haven't shown yet, I want to save, because he's a pretty cool guy, and until I went to a fish store, never saw his species before. And I think y'all are going to love him when I finally show him. That's a good point there, James. What are 3 things to know before getting into puffers? That's actually a great suggestion there, James. 1, lots of filtration. I mean, if you get whatever size tank it is, have lots of filtration. Like on my 150 there with Finley, 150-gallon tank, I have a Fluval FX6 filtering that tank, as well as 2 sponge filters. One's 180-gallon grade, and the other one's 120-gallon grade. So, I mean, there's 300 gallons worth of sponge filtration by itself. And then obviously the canister by itself does what? FX6s are graded to do about 400 gallons or so. And then I got a Tidal 110 on there. I mean, you probably don't need that much filtration, but I would definitely say, like for a Fajaka, if you put them in a 150 or even a 180, I would say get enough filtration where you're filtering that tank twice over. So if you have a 40-gallon tank, get at least 80 gallons worth of total filtration. If you got a 125-gallon tank, at least get 250 gallons worth of filtration. I know that can add up really quickly, but it's going to save you a lot of trouble from having to clean the tank as much. It's not going to get you out of water changes. You still are probably going to want to do water changes about weekly, because it's very important to keep their parameters in check. Another thing that I would say, a personal recommendation for puffers, is sand substrate. A lot of puffers like to bury themselves in the sand, so try avoid gravel. And when I talk about sand, I'm not talking about like that white or black stuff that you get like at Petco. I mean, some puffers will tolerate, but I've also had some puffers that just do not like it at all. I'm talking like the finer the grain of a sand you can get, the better. I mean, you don't want too big of a grain of sand, because if the rocks are a little bit bigger, it can heighten the likelihood where your puffer gets scratched. And since they're already a scaleless fish, they can be very prone to diseases and such. And obviously, we don't want that. Let's see. And one other key thing for puffers is diet. Give them a varied diet. Don't just give them bloodworms. Don't just give them snails. Don't just give them, crayfish. Mix it up. Like with my pea puffers here, like I said, I give them brine shrimp. I give them bloodworms. I give them mysis shrimp. I give them some pest snails. Or Finley there, I give them snails. I give them crayfish. I give them shrimp. I give them frozen krill, like I've even thought about trying to maybe even see if he'll want frozen silver sides or such. I give him big snails, all sorts of fish and such. I mean, or with my ambush puffers, they're like my Arrowhead Puffer. I give him frozen krill. I give him crayfish, shrimp. I've given him rosy red minnows before. I've given him snails of all sorts. I mean, mix up their diet. It's, I guess, for a little bit of a insight on this, consider this. Look, I like pizza and all that, but I don't want to eat pizza every single day. You know what I mean? It's the same thing of fish. They don't want to eat bloodworms every single day. They don't want to eat snails every single day. They don't want to eat crayfish every single day. They don't want to eat shrimp mysis shrimp, brine shrimp, whatever it be, every single day. Give some variation in that diet, and I can tell you now, your puffer will reward you for it. Honestly, I could go all. Let's see, what's another good one? I guess another personal recommendation I would give, although sometimes puffers can make this one a little difficult. Maybe after you learn about your puffers and such, to maybe help create that natural environment for them as well. Try to put some live plants in there to help keep those nitrates and nitrites in check. Honestly, even if it's not a puffer tank, I like putting plants in there just for that exact reason. It's kind of like a natural filter, so to say. It's a awesome deal overall, and that's just a great thing to have for just really any fish, not just puffers, but like puffers also, I guess another one, consider also some, and this goes back to me saying, try to recreate that natural environment for them. So like in the Amazon, sometimes it's even rockier tree branches there. So think about some, maybe some driftwood and such, but you'll also want to make sure there's no points and such on there. But all sorts of stuff like that. What are you doing? I'm sorry, guys. My wife has come down here and she's signaling things to me. I think she's trying to play charades. I'm sorry. That's. I'm not going to say what she just did. There's no charade about that. They can see you in the tank, by the way.
Shoot.
Hopefully that didn't go over. Absolutely, James. I guess final thing we'll talk about here. We got we're 9 minutes away from an hour, so cram it into the final 9 minutes here. One other species of puffer, obviously. I talked a little bit about them. Spotted Congo puffers, like I say, super expensive, but awesome puffers. Great color scheme on them, too. I mean, the dots, the yellow bellies, kind of have a semi-similar color scheme to a Fajaka, honestly. Although I guess a Fajaka really doesn't have any black on it too much. And if it does have black, you might want to look into why that is. But Spotted Congos are another one. They don't get too big. They get it's about one where I think they get about 4 inches. I think the biggest I've ever heard them get is about 6 again. It's another one that people have tried to make community tanks with and have had some success as well. Definitely recommend doing a lot of research on that before giving that a shot, though. But the only problem, like I say, with the Spotted Congos, honestly, is that, man, oh man, at least wherever I've seen them, they are expensive. I'm not going to say exactly what mine were, what I bought them for, but let's just say per puffer, it's in the triple digits in terms of the dollar sign. And sometimes that triple digit, the first digit of that hundreds of dollars is not a 1. Sometimes it's a 2. They're not a cheap fish, and part of that's because of where they're from. There's a whole bunch of hullabaloo going around their natural waters and such, so that plays a part in it. But Stephen Pea Cortex, they go for about 200 here. That's about what I got mine for. I think they were maybe a little more than that, but yeah, that's about roughly what I've seen them go for, Stephen. That's really the only downside. They're an awesome puffer otherwise. I mean, they don't get huge like a Fajaka, but they still got that little puppy dog personality that's so cool. And honestly, you could probably fit a pair or even a trio of them in a 40 breeder just fine. Personally, I would say if you really want to do well, go ahead and put maybe 4 of them or 5 of them. I would even say a 75 would be awesome for them, probably even better than a 40 breeder. If you want to put like 4 or maybe even, I don't know, I would say with puffers, 4 or 5 of them in a 75 would be okay. Before we get to the last one here, I see Daniel here. For certain puffers, do you find you have to deworm them on a regular basis, like yearly, or is it usually one and done? Asking for a friend. I guess at least with me, usually, I've only done like the steps to deworm at least my Fajaka Finley one time, and she hasn't shown me any signs that it's returned for her since, and it's been about 2 years now since I've had her. I've only done it the one time when I first got her when she was about an inch big, and haven't had to since. Same thing with my Amazons. The only one I had to do it twice was my Dragon Puffer when I had him. Obviously, maybe that played a part in him not being as tolerant as some of the other puffers with the parameters when you have power surges and such. But that's what I would say. It's definitely something to keep an eye on because there are definitely exceptions both directions there. But definitely would say always want to keep an eye on it. But at least the ones that I've had down here, most of them I've only had to do one time in terms of deworming them or treating them for internal parasites and such. Let's see. There's two more puffers I'll talk about here. Obviously, the Fajaka Puffer is, if you want a big puffer with a lot of personality, and if you don't care if you just have one fish in the tank, a Fajaka Puffer is an awesome one. Obviously, the Fajaka Puffer is a great one to look at and such here. I mean, just because, again, it's a big fish, and, whenever you look on a channel, people love the big fish. With it, of course, there's a big responsibility and such. But the big thing I would say with them is, one, obviously, I've seen people try to do a community tank with them. I would not recommend it, just because of all the freshwater puffers, a Fajaka is probably the most aggressive one out there, or territorial, whatever term you want to use. While they don't get as big as a Mabu puffer, though, as they grow, their food bill can start to amount up a little bit further. But it's not as bad as a Mabu. I'm not going to act like it is, but I mean, you're still going to want to feed them more and such. So I mean, and that can be another tricky one when you're trying to add variation to their diet, because compared to like a spotted Congo puffer or an Amazon puffer and such, where you're just giving them bloodworms or brine shrimp, that's not going to fill up a Fajaka very quick. In fact, some Fajakas might just look at it like, well, what do you want me to do with this? Or at least mine does. She'll sometimes take the jumbo bloodworms, but getting a bag full of those half clams or those feeder crayfish and such, or even those bigger snails, that can add up fast. That can add up to a bigger bill quite quickly. But I mean, it's not anywhere as bad as like what a Mabu puffer would be, but something to keep in mind before you get that one. And then, of course, the final freshwater puffer, because I feel like I'd be doing a big injustice if I didn't at least talk about it a little bit. A Mabu puffer. Obviously, we've all probably heard of a Mabu puffer from somewhere, likely Corey from Aquarium Co-op. Obviously, huge puffer, gets huge, about 2.5, sometimes even 3 feet up in the wild. It's basically a Fajaka Puffer 2.0 or minus the aggression. I shouldn't say, maybe saying a Fajaka Puffer 2.0 isn't the most appropriate way to say it. But like a Fajaka, they get big, only bigger, sometimes even twice the size of what a Fajaka will grow. I mean, obviously a Fajaka in the wild can grow up to be about 18 to 20 inches big, just shy of 2 feet. Although usually in captivity, I hear that typically they stop more around the 14 to 16 inch range. A Mabu puffer can still easily get over 2 feet, sometimes even closer to 2.5 feet, which, I mean, you need at least 300 gallons, which is, yeah, I'll be there in a minute. A Mabu puffer is one where, yeah, it's a big fish. I mean, a 300-gallon tank is probably the minimum of what you want. I know I honestly thought about maybe having one here in the 240 when I first got the 240, but honestly, this would maybe work for a year and a half at most for a Mabu puffer before I'd run into the problem like, okay, he's probably outgrowing. Like, it probably wouldn't even be a year and a half, and it'd be like, all right, now what? And unfortunately, I just wouldn't have an answer for that. Hence why I didn't go that route. I feel like that's really the reason why Mabu puffers are not kept more often. It's just, yeah, they get so huge. And it's expensive. And I mean, the upkeep and such, which is kind of a Same thing with Fajaka, but I mean, to a little bit of a lesser degree. I mean, Corey's not kidding. They leave like a little small dog-sized poo in their tank, and that can raise the nitrates drastically. So, I mean, with a Mabu puffer, lots of filtration and lots of tank upkeep is a demand to really keep those things healthy and going full steam ahead. Same thing with the Fajaka, although the Fajaka, I would say a Fajaka's waste is more comparable to like, I guess at least of mine, I'd personally say more like a rabbit and such, perhaps say. I guess that's my comparison. So, I mean, still decent recognizable size to where, yeah, if it stays in there, then that can do a number on your water quickly. So, I mean, that's really one thing to really keep in mind with really all puffers, but especially the big ones, that, hey, the bigger the fish, the bigger the poo, thus the more maintenance you're probably going to have to do in order to keep the tank looking nice. Let's see. Can't believe it. We've already hit an hour on this stream. Goodness gracious. Yeah, that food bill on Corey's puffer, I mean, he has 2 Mabus is the next thing. That's the crazy thing. I can only imagine what it would cost to feed 1, let alone 2. I mean, that food bill, don't envy that man at all. Let's see. I got voltage. Welcome. Don't know if I've seen you here before, honestly. Set up a new tank. It's cloudy. Should I be putting stability in there while it's cloudy, or do I let it sit? I guess I would also have to ask maybe why it would be cloudy. Did you just set it up, or had it been set up and just clouded up a little bit? Because then if that's the case, then maybe it's a little bit of a bacterial bloom, which in that case, I can't remember what it is with CHM, but there's like a clarity or something. I think actually that might be what it's called. I put that in there sometimes, but honestly, that would kind of depend on what the whole lowdown is with all that. All right. Getting close to 5:45 here, guys. So I actually got to deal with my family here, so I'm going to jump a little bit early here. Before I do here, let's see. I got voltage. Did that last night and woke up with the same. My guess is it's probably like a bacterial bloom. I'm not the most knowledgeable with that, but I would say, sometimes the best option there is just wait it out, but maybe a little hint of stability wouldn't be great, or prime, one or the other wouldn't be a bad idea, perhaps. I mean, I wouldn't put a ton in there because, you don't want to throw off the system, but something to consider, I guess. Yeah, as Chris Robertson says, I mean, pretty much right on point there, Chris. If it's a bacterial bloom, then let it run its course. Usually, it works itself out. Hopefully it does, man, because, I know that can make an aquarist a little uneasy, so I'm with you, Voltage. I understand. That can be a little unnerving. See, Atkins Nature Aquarium, good to see you there here as well. I feel like I saw you there earlier and I never said hi to you. But nonetheless, guys, here, got a dinner here with some family here, so I'm going to go ahead and jump and get ready for that. To everybody that came here this evening, thank you so much for coming here. I promise we'll do another stream on puffers here at some point. I know that the last couple of weeks we've done more around an hour and a half, and I'm kind of cutting her short this week. We'll definitely do another stream about puffers. Too many down here to not do another stream about puffers down the road here. I don't know if we're going to do it right away, but plenty ahead here, guys. If you're new here and have not done so already, consider clicking the subscribe button here to stay in the loop with everything we do here, including keeping a loop of when we do live streams in here and such. Click that bell to be in the know-how of when we do this. And, of course, to all your returners and people that give the constant support, each and all of you are appreciated. Thank you so much. I promise I'm going to try to get a video out this week on those puffers, or at least about something for you guys here. It's been, I think, today marks about 2 weeks here, but want to get something out here for you. So I'm going to do my best this week to get something out here for you guys, other than a live stream for you guys to hopefully enjoy here. I mean, you may not like it, which is okay. But nonetheless, guys, again, thanks for coming. Great to see all of y'all. I will see you all in my next video. Stay fantastic, guys.